What's going on? This video gonna be about NFL head coaches Mount Rushmore, and they recently were asking. And all due respect, Vince Lombardi was before my time. He definitely gets his place, and he has the award named after him. But if I have to pick four that I can say that I look at and say they were the definitive ones, I will. And necessarily not in the order, but I'll just mention names. Obviously, Bill Belichick with New England, incredible, incredible, incredible. I mean, when you win 6 chips out of 9 and you dominate 2 decades, I mean, that's incredible. And I think that it's more Tom Brady that I will give the nod to, but as a head coach, his defensive schemes, what he's been able to do, that's incredible. I mean, you're because you got to understand, sometimes it takes franchises, all that. You think about the 49ers win all 8 Super Bowls, and the Cowboys win all 8 Super Bowls, and Pittsburgh win all 8 Super Bowls with 3 different coaches. You see multiple coaches, but one guy to be that successful for 2 decades, that's mind blowing. And I'm not the biggest Belichick fan, but I have to give him his due. They've changed the course of the NFL, been dominant, and been top line product. Like, usually he find a way to always get there, and he's done it with people that fit to his what he wanted. Not necessarily guys that would necessarily be all pros or players in other situations, but on his situation, they did the thing. So he's definitely one of them. Bill Walsh, what he did with the 49ers, revolutionized the West Coast offense, changed the game of football before your eyes. Groundbreaker. Montana, Rice, Steve Young, all that. Roger Craig, all that. Ricky Waters. And on defense, Ronnie Lott. His defense is underrated, which he doesn't get enough due for. But Walsh, not only that he was a great spotter of talent, he knew how to draft, and he got the right pieces. No one was seeing Joe Montana like this, but he did. He was ahead of the curve. He was a groundbreaker, and he learn a lot from another guy like Vince Lombardi, like with Paul Brown, who did incredible in Cleveland. But just to see what Walsh accomplished was mind blowing. I would look at him and I'd hold him in high regard. I think that he was incredible. I mean, it was incredible. What he did, mind blowing, mind blowing. My next coach I would put would be Don Shula. I mean, think about it. 37 years, you only had 2 losing seasons. And yes, and he won the Super Bowl with Earl Morrall, who took over for Johnny Unitas, and he won with Bob Greasy. And Morrall and Bob Greasy were good quarterbacks. I wouldn't necessarily great. He had Johnny Unitas before that, and then he later had a Dan Marino, which Marino is considered one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks ever. And you can put however you want, but Marino was bad. But what really impressed me about Don Shula as a coach was back in 82, 83, when they played Washington in the Super Bowl, which they lost. And I still remember Fulton Walker running 100-yard back kickoff return. But he had David Woodley. David Woodley would be like somebody's third string quarterback today. But he got him all the way to the Super Bowl. Only Don Shula. With the no-name defense and the style, that man could flat out coach. As a Buffalo Bills fan, I remember that man could coach. That man could, when you only have 2 losing seasons, 37 years, almost 40 years, and you have a style in the system, I have to give it to him. He was very distinctive. He really had a way of coaching which was unique, and he was definitely pretty special. Pretty special. My fourth pick, I guess I got it. I was contemplating between Chuck Noland and Tom Landry, because obviously Dallas Cowboys and everything that Landry did there, and he won with Roger Staubach and Doomsday Defense and all that. However, when I look at Chuck Noland and the Steelers, one thing that I will say is this. The toughest thing to do is to coach great talent. And Chuck Noll did it better, because those Steelers got a who's who of Hall of Famers. Elsie Greenwood should be in, but when you had Mean Joe Green, Franco Harris, Lynn Swan, John Starworth, Terry Bradshaw, I mean, you look at Donnie Shell, I mean, you look at the line, and those guys, that predates a Golden State of what the NBA was doing, but they won. They won 4 chips in 6 years, and that's unheard of, and that's dominant. And Chuck Noll um, did an incredible job. It's hard to coach great players in ego. It really is hard, you know, to put that all together and to accomplish that. That's hard, and they were dominant. There's no ends or buts about it. They ran the AFC. They were, they were doing things which, again, for that time period was mind blowing. And it's still mind blowing when I think about it now. You since then, um, Bill Cowher won a chip, and so did Mike Tomlin win a chip. But Chuck Noll's dominance, what he had, and to run it like they did was incredible. And they won a couple incredible Super Bowls against Dallas. Those couple of them games were like just mind blowing. Especially that one in '79. I mean, that was mind blowing. But you know, just incredible, just incredible. So honorable mention to Tom Landry. I would give him honorable mention. Um, he would definitely he'd be up there on the next list. I would say think about Bill Parcells. And of course, Paul Brown, Vince Lombardi for my time, but I would give them honorable mention. Um, I'm impressed by guys who've done the thing on a high level and have left a lasting mark. And that's definitely some of those guys that, George Halas would get his honorable mention. There's certain people that you'd have to if you were to study it. So, that's my thoughts with the NFL Mount Rushmore. But give me your 4. Hit that like and subscribe and the bell rings in the video. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear, watch out for one another. And these discussions bring up some interesting debates and topics. Peace.